G'day guys, welcome back to the lab. Thursday, level 3 lockdown in Hamilton. Well, all of New Zealand actually. It's just Auckland stuck in level 4. Buggers. Feel sorry for you. Right, we're running through the maze of what we can get done, what we can't get done, what materials we can get, whose car we're going to work on based on the aforementioned things, and trying to just get some stuff done. Yesterday we pulled this brand spanking new Plasma Man manifold, and not these bits, all the intakes, well, some of the intake system and a whole heap of other bits. Pulled it off this BMW here, which I mistakenly said was a 1.5 JZ. It's just a 1 JZ. Still, it's going to be good enough, right? It's going to be a beast when it's all sorted out with the big hairdryer on there. So not a 1.5, my bad. It's a 1. I'm not sure where I got that from, actually. I probably just dreamed it up. We need to sort out the idle air system. I talked about that before. You've got to get it somewhere from the pressurized side of the turbo, and you've got to get it into these holy things in the side of the big shiny bit at the top of the motor to make it go brum brum. So you can buy these Plasma Man manifolds with the appropriate fittings and everything. This one was ordered without. Don't know why you would want to sell it without, but they do. So with a manual throttle, you can't make them. Some people will say you can, but you can't make them idle nicely and do all the right things to behave like a nice car without an idle control valve. So we've got this. As I mentioned, we got this through Calvin at the Car Tune Company. This is the idle control valve here. Literally just 2 holes. You take air from this side of the throttle, let it go past the throttle and into the inlet manifold. The valve controls how much air goes in and out. Or goes in, rather. It won't go out. And that creates your idle. So I don't want to ruin the powder coating on this. And I actually can't, at the moment, take the powder coating off very easily anyway, because this is how bad it's getting. I've run out of flappy discs for my grinder. Oh god, excuse me, mess over here. Everything's just, something's going to fall on the floor, I guarantee it. The flappy disc is worn out. She's gone. So I ordered some more and yesterday morning, and they should have been on the local courier, and they just haven't turned up. So we might get them today, we might get them tomorrow, we might not see them until next week. Couriers, you know, you can't rely on them. So I wanted to put a weld-on fitting on here. This is really the way to do it. This is the best way, except, like I say, I don't want to damage the powder coating. So the options are we've got to try and bolt something to it somehow. So what I've come up with is bulkhead fitting. I've ordered, good luck getting them on the couriers. Well, we'll see, they might turn up. Ordered from our mates at GSS another one of these washers to go on this side, and crikey, I think I've forgotten the nut. I need to ring them back and confirm that I've ordered the nut. So the plan is to machine off this end here and put it on the inside of the manifold. Put the nut on the outside and put the hose onto the end of that. So even if our nut comes loose, it can't come off and go into the engine. You'd have to drop the hose off, you'd have to drop the nut off. The thing's going to run like a bag of rubbish at that point anyway, and then it would have to wriggle the washer off before this piece, which would be approximately that big, before that will come adrift, and there's no way that's going past a valve anyway. So that's safe at that point, right? Even if everything fails, we're not going to lose an engine because of it. We're not going to kill it. If we did it the other way, where you had this to the outside, that to the inside, and we had the nut on that side, that nut is probably small enough that it can go in contact with the top of the valve, potentially tip on its side, jam between the guide and the top, the valve head, I guess you call it, and stop the valve closing, destroy the engine. So that's my plan anyway. We'll attach that to there like that. That's good. That'll be mint. We'll put some Loctite on here so the nut can't come loose. Like I say, it'll just run badly. It won't kill it, but you don't want that happening, so we'll Loctite it. Then I'll mount that somewhere else. Doesn't have to be on the engine. We've got a hose that's going to come. There's a fitting ordered, so drill and weld an AN male weld-on fitting on there, aluminium fitting. I run a hose. This is all my hoses that I've got. We've got plenty of that. That's enough that we don't have to worry about getting some of that. And we put this idle system anywhere. Can mount it on the engine mount here. That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? Can do that. We can mount it probably on the engine block. Look, there's a couple of screw holes down there. There's dozens of them. Put a bracket down here. Mount it here somewhere, run the hose under there and up through down into there where it goes. Done. So I'll fire up the lathe and I'll modify that and I'll drill the hole and I'll stick it through there, and then we have to wait for the bits. In the meantime, this material was ordered and paid for this. I haven't got it yet. I haven't been told I can pick it up yet. It's level 3 for you. But I want to do these bits here, making this shorter. I've got, I think, just enough material to do that, and then weld this to here, that to that, and make this all one piece. Start preparing it to make a mold to make this out of carbon fibre instead of aluminium. That was just over a kg, wasn't it? Previous videos, you guys will tell me 1,100 and something or whatever. So call it a kg. Plus that one is 2 kgs. That bit in the middle's got to be another kg at least. 3 kgs. Plus what we're going to do here. Oh, it's 800. Maybe another kg. So that whole setup will be 4 kgs probably. They do that out of carbon fibre and it'll be 1.5. Something like that. So another 3 kgs less weight on the car. And we can get a better shape. We can tidy up all this messiness that's quite hard to do, you know. I mean, I can get it better, but how much time do you want to spend on it? And then you get it mint and you bang it into a wall. So if we do the mold and get a mold perfect, then we're not worried about if it does get damaged. You just make another one. It's easy peasy. That was easy enough. Beautiful. See, I made a beautiful thing out of it. So it goes on the inside. Got the hole saw. Put a hole in this beautiful manifold. I could put it almost anywhere, but here somewhere will do. I know there's heaps of room. It's not going to be flowing heaps of air. I guess you could argue it needs to be smack bang in the middle there, but really it doesn't need to be. Just for idle. Ta-da! Hole. Throttle removed. Crap cleaned out. And this is the reason why we put big throttles on modified cars. This is the only reason. There's no other reason. That's why we do it. So Glenn can do things like this. Awesome. That is beautiful. It is actually not too far away from the middle of the thing in there. That's so that we clear everything that's going on in there. A piece of cake. All we need is a nut and a washer, and we can start making up the hose and all that sort of carry on. Yay. Could be worse things to listen to outside, I guess. Can't see any of them. That's our native tui. Bit like a parrot, not really. Sort of, kind of. Right, while we wait for some bits, have a go at installing this harness again. So it's supposed to live under the inlet manifold. So throw it in the car. I'll put the inlet manifold back in with a bolt or two, just to hold it so I can loosely sit all the injector plugs on top of the injectors, etc., and figure out the routing. Our fuel pressure sensor wire is just one of these ones here. The harness, that's going to be ideal length. That's good. The inlet idle control valve harness is a good length as well for putting it perhaps by the heater control unit there. Actually, we could make another bracket, an adapter of sorts, shorten up that heater control system, move it that way a little bit, and put the idle control, spit it out, idle control system next to that, would be quite nice and feng shui and more factory looking ish. It's got a join in the heater pipe there anyway. If we move this that way far enough, it'll get rid of that join, make it just a little bit tidier and nicer and betterer. Still a lot of harness there. Can't even see them. Here's the plugs for the ECU out here. I mean, it'd be good if you wanted the ECU in the car next to this car. It's about the right length for that. I'm not sure. I mean, I was told they've sold hundreds, had hundreds installed, no problems. Doesn't mean they're right though. Never mind. There we go. Look at that. That's what I've been wanting to make for ages. Ironically, that's not the material that I was waiting for. Once I got my hands on what I thought would be ideal, and then had another look at it and measured it up, and I was like, this isn't really gonna work the way I wanted it to. Had a rummage through my scrap metal bin, and look what I've got there. So I'll show you what that does. That does that. So drilled a couple of holes in the factory 350Z suspension arm so that we can mount that bracket on there to adapt that shock to there. So if old mate has a little whoopsie, as you do with race cars, hits a curb or something, he can just get another arm and just drill the holes and put that bracket back onto the new arm. Saves him having to get something custom fabricated and spending money with other people doing. He can do that sort of thing himself. Real cheap, quick, easy way to modify it to suit that. Yes, could make custom lower arm for it, absolutely. Now, why do we want to do that? Why do we want to spend money on things like that when we can do it that way and going forward, as I've just explained? Whereas if it's a custom arm, he has to spend big money getting someone to make another one or fixing it or whatever. So ride height is currently basically is too low, because it needs to be actually lower. It's too low to roll on those flares. It's literally just touches. It might actually, it does roll. Like if I took the plastic flares off, it'd be moving around on its own. But that's not the ride height. It's actually, everything's been designed for it to be 20 30 mils lower than that, to get the little puppy down on the ground looking cool and all that. So got to do same to the other side. Might see one of the screws mounting it. Yeah, it's just an M6 at the moment. That actually will be an M8 when we can get some proper hardware. It's a bit hard to get at the moment. It's not impossible, it's just a bit harder. Certainly better than the block of wood that's on that side. So that's that. That's the plan with that. We got more of that stuff there. 3 sheets of aluminium there. So come the weekend, things will be happening back here. I've actually got to confirm my design that I want for the tailpipes. I've changed my mind on that about 60,000 times, or maybe a little less, maybe 59,500 times. So we'll be doing that. There's some stuff on order for what's hiding under the bonnet on this. So that's coming, so I can work on that tomorrow. And if I find some time on the weekend, I'll do this thing that I was talking about there. So I'm going to go. It's my wedding anniversary today, so 14 years. Happy wedding anniversary, wifey. Love you. I see it on YouTube in front of 500 people. That's all good. What's that dog doing out there? Never mind. All right. Cheers for watching. Catch you later. See you. Bye.